Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be doing chapter 12 verse 11 and Bhagwan Shri Krishna is continuing to make it easier and easier for people, saying if you can't even do this then do this, if you can't do this then do this, and so he's continuing that process in this video. I wanted to share very briefly that Amrendra Prabhu is in Seattle. He came, he had his second lecture yesterday, and what he spoke about, what I got from him, he was speaking about this verse by Raghunath Das Goswami called Sun Suchi Nandan or something like that. Ashtakam. It's a 8-verse thing. I think he's doing 1 verse per day, and I think he's going to give 8 lectures, something like that. So he gave the second. I'd missed the first one, but I heard the second one yesterday, and it was amazing. So I recorded a video on humility for that, June 26, 2004. The date is there on the titles of the video that I recorded. So if you want to listen to that, it deepened, like basically I took one little part of what he said and I combined with the contemplation and the thinking that I've been doing around humility. So I spoke on that. But he's amazing. He managed to penetrate me in 2 or 3 different places. So this was one of them that I talked about in this video, and I forgot the other 2, 1 or 2 or 3, whatever places where he really penetrated me. Like, that's why I love attending lectures in person, because I feel like I get penetrated I get glimpses, or like I absorb things in a much deeper way than if I'm listening online. And I know a lot of people say it's because it's distracting and everything, but I think it's more than the distractingness. It's the person's presence that downloads that energy into us. I think that's, I mean, people talk about Vapu and Vani, and Vapu is in person and Vani is word, and yeah, the word is absolutely very important. And for me, at least I've seen that Vapu is very important, because I feel like it's just totally different when you're in person, right? When you're talking to the person and you're sharing your own personal problems or personal paths and things, and then the person is able to reflect back to you about your personal thing, right? And they're able to tell you, oh, how about this or how about that. That's completely different from hearing a lecture, which is a very generic lecture, which is difficult, much more difficult to apply to you. But then when you're talking to somebody in person, or even on phone, but like directly talking to the person, then it's different. So in the lectures, we can ask questions, which we do or we don't do. But even if we don't ask questions, somehow there's just this difference, and I feel it very strongly. I feel like there is a difference, and I feel like my growth is faster. Maybe because I've just placed my faith in that more, and that's why my growth is faster. Maybe there is actually an energy download when the person is there. I think there is. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go there to different places, to different people, like everybody would respond to him. Even animals would respond to him. So it's. I believe that there is a lot to be said for the in-person also. Okay, so let's do the prayer and then we'll sing the verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you, dear Krishna, Radha Krishna, for giving us access to you and for putting us in a path where we know about you. Like when I step outside of the house right now, there is nobody here that even knows the name Krishna, that even knows who you are and that knows anything about you. So thank you for giving us access and giving us the ability to be able to know about you, and then on top of that to be able to have this ability, the desire, the motivation to read these verses, these words of yours, these beautiful, beautiful words of yours, and to have access to this mercy that you've given us, where you're saying, okay, if you can't do this, then do this. If you can't do this, then do this. And you're just making it so easy for us. And it's so difficult for us still to do it. But thank you for giving us the mercy so that we can start and we can do as best as we can. Thank you for giving us the path, and so clearly as well. Okay, let's sing the verse together. Let me turn on the screen. I keep forgetting to do that. Okay. अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुम् मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागम् ततः कुरु यतात्मवान्. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. So if you can't, in the previous verse, he said that if you can't think about me a lot, then just do your work for me. And now he's saying, even if you can't do your work for me, do your work without needing it, without me, but without being attached to the results. Do your work without attachment to fruits. So even if you can't do it for me. So Prabhupada here, he says that it may be that because of social, familial or religious considerations or some other impediments, they may be unable to do Krishna conscious activities, and there might be objections or family members or whatever. So then you can give charity or to some hospital or some other social institution, then you're giving hard-earned results of your activities to them. And so then you're giving up fruits of your activities. The money is a fruit of your activity. So you're literally giving up the fruit of your activity, not to Krishna necessarily, because people might not agree, but to hospitals or social things or some charity or something like that. Yeah, so if one decides to sacrifice for the supreme cause, even if he does not know that the supreme cause is Krishna, he will gradually come to understand that Krishna is the supreme cause. Okay, so I was listening to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, and he was talking about this, that the difference in the Hindu philosophy, Hindu is a very whatever, but this Krishna conscious way, the Vedic way of life, is more that we believe in the soul's natural attraction towards Krishna, right? We are eternal servants of Krishna. We are eternal servants of God. So even if a person does not, like, we don't say that if you are not going to believe in Krishna, then you are doomed or you're like whatever. We don't say that this is the only path and this is the right path. I mean, we say that this is the ultimate perfection, but it doesn't matter. So in Muslim religions and in Christianity, they will say that if you do not believe in Allah, you're going to burn in hell for eternity. Same in Christianity or Catholicism, I think, not all of them. But they say that, right? Like that if you don't believe in Jesus, then you're going to burn in hell for eternity. And the Muslims say the same thing. That cannot be love, right? That cannot be God's love for us. God will not do that, make us burn in hell for eternity. That's insane. So this way, what the Vedic way of life is that we believe, I mean, the Shastras say, and I truly believe that, is that if you haven't discovered Krishna in this lifetime, it's okay. You will eventually discover Krishna, right? It might take a gazillion more lifetimes. That's okay. If you're lucky to have association of somebody who is already Krishna conscious, really Krishna conscious, where you can feel their consciousness, and you get it when you feel it, when you're with someone, when you're with someone who's really Krishna conscious, then you feel it and it downloads into you. So when you get into that kind of association with someone, then you're able to build that love for Krishna yourself. You're already attracted because you're naturally attracted. So you're going to be drawn to that person. Those really enlightened souls who are constantly thinking of Krishna and constantly chanting. If you put your ear on their back, then you can hear the Hare Krishna Mahamantra going. If you go to them and while they're sleeping, you'll hear them softly chanting. It's just there all the time. That's them. So when you're with them, then you automatically feel enlightened, and pulled in, like Prabhupada pulled in so many people, right? Because he had that. So so I don't know why I digressed into that, but I believe that very much, that if you are that the Vedic way of life is not this eternal condemnation thing. It's that, okay, you're not ready. You want to enjoy the material world right now, so you're going to enjoy the material world, and you're going to go through this cycle of karma, cycle of birth and death for as long as you need to, as long as you want to. And then when you, out of your own free will, start to ask questions, what is the purpose of God, of life, and why am I doing this over and over again? Why am I going through this over and over again? I mean, you may start to know that you're going through it over and over again if you have some hypnosis sessions, past life regressions or something. Then you may start to know, then you may start asking questions, or generally you may start asking questions. And when you start asking questions, many times people will say, like, what's wrong with you? Are you depressed? People will actually ask that. Are you depressed? Is that why you're asking these questions? I've faced that. But that's not, I mean, that's ridiculous, right? The most important question that we can ask in our life is, what are we living this life for? What are we spending? We're spending all of this time. What are we spending this time for? What is the purpose? What do we want to do? What is the best use of our time on this planet? What do we want to do with this time? How do we want to use it? So, that's, so it's much more peace inducing, this path, and it's not so much about religion. It's more about, you face whatever you sow, you will reap, according to your karma in this life or in the next life. You will reap it. You will eventually reap it, and then eventually you will be able to connect with the Lord. At some point, you will most likely, almost certainly, connect with the Lord. So everybody is going to go back to the Lord at some point. Nobody is doomed eternally. It's just, we're trying to help you get there faster if you want to. Okay. Back to this. Beginning with verse 12:8, so Sri Krishna gives 3 ways for Arjun's welfare. He says, in the third, previous one, he says, work for him, but also that requires purified and resolute intellect. Those who are not yet convinced about their relationship with God and have not made God realization the goal of their lives may find it impossible to work for his pleasure. Therefore, now he gives the 4th welfare: keep doing your work, but become detached from the fruits. It will purify this is so powerful. It will purify the mind from the modes of ignorance, passion, and bring it to the mode of goodness. So this is not going to be transcendental, it's going to be mode of goodness. But you have to go through these steps. If you're in the mode of ignorance, you have to go to passion, then you have to go to goodness. And then from that, because that's still a material mode, from there you can go to transcendental mode. But you have to go to transcendental from goodness. So this is like saying, okay, where you are, wherever you are, let's meet you there. Let's take the next step. What is the next step for you? So do it, be detached from the fruit of the results, go to mode of goodness, and then you will be able to remove the worldliness from the mind and strengthen the intellect. And then you will be able to comprehend transcendental knowledge and move to the higher levels of sadhana. I love this commentary, the way he's written. It's so beautiful. Okay, that's it for this verse. Wish you a day filled with lots and lots of Krishna prem, lots and lots of ability to move up the path of bhakti in as fast a way as possible. Radhe Radhe.